of the broader Indian community here, and also the Indian students who we're very proud to welcome here. Hari Om, Namaste. Now, you might be wondering why Sasha, who normally arrives wearing a green sari, why she's wearing the red wedding dress from Rajasthan. In fact, it's from a village about one and a half hours drive from Jodhpur. And about 4 years ago, we were there, just over 4 years ago, to visit the ashram of a friend who is a Swamiji. He's a Swamiji of Rajasthan, but also he has an ashram in Vienna and in Delhi and in Mumbai and other parts of India. And one of the things that we've become friends over many years following his visits here to South Australia. But I had a phone call from him on Tuesday of last week, and unfortunately I was at an event and couldn't take the message. Then I got a text message from the Swamiji up in Rajasthan, and he wanted me to phone him. And so I phoned immediately, and a Swami who is assistant, who answered the phone, Hari Om, said, "Mike, the Swamiji wants to talk to you, but he's got this huge crowd here, and there's so much noise," and I could hear this din in the background. And I said, "That's amazing. How many people are there?" He said, "Between 12 and 15. And I said, 12 and 15,000. He said, "No, 12 to 15 million people at this huge Hindu gathering that the Swamiji was attending." Now, the Major General has just asked for Adelaide Oval for a future Mela celebration. And I think that I'm very proud that in the 8 years that I've been Premier, that the Indian community here has doubled. And we've also now got 6,700 Indian students who we welcome, because it is a huge privilege to be able to welcome the sons and daughters of our friends in India who are part of our story and part of our great education efforts. But anyway, I want to tell you that I couldn't speak to the Swamiji until Thursday night. And he answered the phone himself, and I said, "How's the crowd?" The other night there was 12 to 15 million people. He said, no, it's much smaller now, only 7 million people. So sometimes here in Adelaide we have to remember how large India is, how diverse India is. You know, I've been to India now 5 times. I'm going again this year. We've opened an office in Chennai, a trade office which is very vigorous on mining, in wine, in tourism, but also in encouraging students to come here. And when I go to India, I go to Delhi and Mumbai and Hyderabad and Bangalore and Chennai and Tamil Nadu. We've now, of course, is our sister state. I'm very happy to every year at Chennai Oval play cricket with Brian Hayes QC, who once played in England for minor counties, and he was our opening bowler. And we also have we play against Indian Test cricketers, including my good friend Srikanth, who I'm very pleased to say I once caught out. So we go to these cities, and we go there because we want to let them know that this great alliance between Australia and India must continue. For the relationship goes back a long way. The first Indians arrived in South Australia in 1838, 2 years after settlement. So within 2 years there was an Indian community here who helped open up the outback in so many ways, as traders and as cameleers. And so we have a rich Indian story as part of our story here in South Australia. And now we've seen, I think, the relationship blossom and strengthen. We've also got to remember that on Anzac Day, the sacred day, the most sacred day of Australia, let us remember that alongside the Australian and New Zealand troops at Anzac Cove and Gallipoli were the Indian soldiers, the forgotten Anzacs, brothers in blood, not only in the First World War, but in the Second World War, when 4 million Indians volunteered to fight, even though they were at that stage struggling for independence. And I have said to you before that I'm very proud that my father, who was in the British Royal Tank Corps, served alongside the Indian 4th Division at the Battle of El Alamein and then later at the Battle of Monte Cassino, where the Indian forces